now I'm going to tell you how kiteboarding and how many ways kiteboarding has really through the years changed my life. So when I wanted to learn how to kiteboard, I was actually scared to death of deep water. I had learned windsurfing in just like a shallow water between a little island and the mainland of Germany. So it was all safe. And my mom, who is terrified of water, had really, passed that on to me. So my mom being terrified of water, never really having taken me swimming or bathing or whatever, it just made me being terrified of deep water too. So when I wanted to learn how to kiteboard, I had to overcome that fear. And this is where that passion of wanting to learn how to kiteboard really helped me. I think if you have a passion for something, as Holly was putting it yesterday, we talked, she said, if you have a passion for something, it really makes you do things that you don't like to do. And that's, I think, how a lot of us have overcome fears through kiteboarding, right? It just pushes you to do things that you otherwise would never think possible. So I overcame this in Fuerteventura, where the wind is offshore, and every time I wouldn't make it back to the land, I had to be rescued by a boat, and I was just swimming in the deep water. Well, that took care of that. So then I came back to Germany after that time in Fuerteventura, and I pretty much just started competing in the German events. And that was really fun because it was a real tight-knit community, and I got to get to know everyone. But then I decided, well, if I wanted to go any further, I also needed to go to some international events. Now here I am as a former East German girl. The wall came down when I was 12. I forgot to mention that, but now the world was a little freer to me. So I wanted to travel. East German girl. I had only learned Russian in school, didn't speak any English, and I was already shy around big groups of new people. And so the next thing that I had to overcome was my shyness in public, and especially with people that I didn't even speak their language. And I was so shy to try even the simplest words and speaking English with them. But yet again, kiteboarding drove me through that passion to just go out and do it. And sure enough, I meet amazing people like Laurel in my very first international competition that was in Cabarete. And, I didn't really understand them much, but there was ways of communicating with hands and feet, and I would learn a little bit of English here and there. And there were also a couple of German-speaking international writers. So a great community, and they welcomed me, and I overcame that challenge too. Next came really the limiting beliefs, because now you're in a world that nobody understands, right? Kiteboarding was so new back then. That was in 2002 that I started competing. And not only was it new to like my family and my friends, nobody knew about it, but also in the sport itself that was so small, there was really only one other girl competing in Germany at the time. So I found myself, like I'm sure many of us, in a very male-dominated sport or world. And that was very limiting because, everyone was telling you, well, you are not going to learn this, or there's no way you're going to learn this trick, or there's no way you're going to do this. So that was very limiting if you would just listen to things like that, other people's beliefs, right? And then there was also one other very big limiting belief for me, and that was money. I grew up in a very simple home. My mom was a teacher. My parents at that point divorced. So we didn't really have very many or very big financial opportunities, possibilities. So, just the thought of trying to go out and competing in the world, that nobody really saw a way to doing that. So I had to somehow overcome those beliefs and really turn into myself and, come back to that passion and how can I really pursue that passion in a way that I can make it work. And that meant sneaking into hotels sometimes and just stealing food from their buffets. Or for my first competition, it was lending kite gear from a friend because I didn't have my own. But again, if you are really passionate about something, it doesn't only make you things that you don't really like to do, but it also really makes you overcome any challenge that is thrown your way, even though it's sometimes not always easy. So then I went out and I started competing and, just working as a kiteboard instructor here, working as a kiteboard instructor there, and making money for each next event. And at that time, I was just having a lot of fun. I really enjoyed being out in the world with other kiteboarders. We were partying in the evening. It was also fun. But then I knew if I wanted to actually make this work and turn it into, a career, I needed to focus more, and I couldn't just go out and party. So I really had to learn how to dial back on the fun and really focus on myself, on building skills, on really taking this to the next level, and really center myself. And it's funny, I actually remember it's something that somebody said to me that I'll never forget. When I was working as a windsurf instructor, he said it in German, so I have to translate it into English. You're a really great person, but you just have to learn to calm down a little bit. And I was young, so I think most of us have probably gone through a stage like that. But realizing that I wanted to take kiteboarding to the next level and that this is what I really wanted to pursue, or at least try to pursue as a career, really helped me find that focus and also helped me to find that calm a little bit. And through all that, really then, through finding that focus, through finding the calm, I then started to become more successful in the competition. Maybe being one of the ones that didn't party all the time. Just kidding. But being more successful in the competitions then helped me finding more sponsors, finding good gear to ride, but also finding monetary sponsorship contributions that would allow me to focus even more on it and start to really compete on a better level. And through the competition results and through all that success, I then also built confidence. And that's, thinking back now, was such a big shift for me, really, because I used to be so shy in front of the camera, and I was like, oh, don't film me, don't take pictures of me. I had to overcome all that because that's obviously part of the whole career of being a professional athlete. And just doing it over and over and having the skills, I felt more confident doing all those things too. And what kiteboarding has really done for me too, and that brings us to the next bullet point here, is that I've really traveled the whole world, right? So being this East German girl, thinking I can't really ever go further than Poland and the Czech Republic, I have really traveled around the whole world and gone to places that I never thought possible, and that I might never see again. But what an incredible adventure and what an incredible blessing that really was. And that really changed my worldview, right? If I think about all the places that I've gone to and the many people that I've met and the many ways that they've lived in, it really was, I think, the less developed countries that have impressed me the most, or whose people have impressed me the most by how happy they are with how little they have. And, living in the US now, where everyone is pretty centered, not everyone, and I don't want this to sound bad or weird in a way, but, I think people are more centered around themselves and their families and making sure that they have all they need, which is fair enough. But it seems like in those countries that are less developed, where people have less, community and really helping out each other was such a much bigger value. And that has really, over time and time again, really changed my view and my take on life, which I really appreciate too. And and then kiteboarding really connected me with nature. Where I grew up, it was, just flat land, nothing really beautiful about. I now see it in a different way, but I didn't grow up, being told, oh, look how beautiful this is, or go out and enjoy nature. I was mostly playing indoor sports like handball and volleyball, and in the winter we would do sports inside only anyways. So going out into the world and seeing all those amazing places, I pretty much all the things that I like to do now are outdoors. I don't really like to be indoors so much anymore. So it's really, I connected much more with nature, and find it pretty amazing. And then I've also realized I built a lot of skills through kiteboarding, and not just kiteboarding itself. Through the whole career, I also gained skills in graphic design and web design, actually through starting the KB for Girls Foundation, which was the original name of the Women's Kiteboarding Collective, because we didn't have any funds, so I needed to make the website myself and do all the designs and stuff. So I learned that. And then I also, through teaching in all the girls events, women's events, and lots of other events, I also gained a lot of teaching skills. And funny enough, after I retired from kiteboarding, those are things I did. I didn't know what to do after a life as a professional kiteboarder. So I actually had a little graphic design and web design company first. That was kind of the only skill that I thought I could use. And now I am teaching professionally, not kiteboarding, but other things. And so I've really gained a lot of skills that are really useful in life too. And then last but not least, I made real amazing lifelong connections. Not only did I find my husband through kiteboarding, which obviously affects my life every day in a very positive way, but also so many of you, and I've just scrolled through the names very quickly, but yeah, I mean, there's definitely so many names here that I'm like, oh my God, the good times we had. And it's so nice to see you all. And even though I don't see you all the time and every day, I know that I would see you somewhere at the beach, we would still have this amazing connection. And this is, I think, also the amazing thing about the Women's Kiteboarding Collective, that you can post something on the Facebook group, or you can go to some beach and you might meet one of the other ladies here, and you have that connection, because in the end, kiteboarding brings us all together through that passion that we all have for kiteboarding. And thank you, Holly. And so how to sum all this up, my life, but also how to really sum up, I think, the experience that everyone else had through kiteboarding. And I would love to hear everyone's story, but I don't think we have enough time for that. Not today, maybe next time. So I think, to me, I found out through this reflecting and through the great things kiteboarding has brought my way, that really, if you have a passion for something, it can really help you, or it pretty much guarantees, if you have a passion for something, you will be able to find courage, and you will be able to find that open-mindedness to approach things in a way that you might have not ever thought of otherwise, and you will be able to persevere, right? So my best advice to anyone, if you have anything that you're passionate in life, it's not going to be always easy. It might be hard work sometimes. It's definitely not going to be linear, but as long as you can find something that you can be passionate about, I think you're always going to be fine. And I loved reflecting and being able to tell you all my story. So thank you.
Awesome. Kristin, thank you so much. Please feel free to use your video reaction button at the bottom, or just give us the old-fashioned applause.